What's up, hobby friends? My name is Casey, and this is eBay Miniature Rescues. Today, we're going to build a hobby workshop. There are a few things that you really need to have a good hobby space. Access to your paints, tools, and some storage for all the stuff you will inevitably accrue. The easier it is to get to those things, the easier of a time it will be when you sit down to actually hobby. When I was younger, I had a single Citadel paintbrush and a handful of Citadel paints. A bar stool was my preferred sitting arrangement, and a countertop was my workspace. As far as a hobby space goes, this is by far the most common one, but as most of us get older and amass larger and larger piles of opportunity, we tend to need a larger space to hold those things. Since starting this channel, I've had 3 different setups. The first setup was pretty basic: an old computer desk with an LED lamp attached to it, a space separate from other people and things so that I could leave my hobby stuff out, what we refer to as a level 2 hobby space. Open in a common living space, but something you don't have to pack up when you're done for the day. I made a lot of videos at that desk. The channel was started there, and I have really good memories of painting in that space. When the channel started to pick up a little bit, and I started getting into doing commissions, I needed a space that was separate from a common living space, and that I could spread out and make a little bit more of a mess. I took my desk and moved it into a 6x5 closet, a very enclosed area with no power, but just enough room to fit my desk and have shelf space for more gray plastic. I made a lot of videos in this space. The lighting was funky and the sound was pretty bad, but we got through it. Still, a nice level 3 setup. A personal space to hobby with good lighting, storage, and most everything within arm's reach. Arm's reach being the most important bit in there. That brings us into early 2020. Commissions were going strong, the channel was going strong. The biggest problem I was facing was how to make the videos better. Lighting, sound, scope of the project. I needed to get out of the small hobbit hole I had built for myself. Here was the idea. I needed a space with several work desks, preferably in a few spaces in one room, a closet for storage and ventilation to the outside. The options were to either rent a small space and build it out, which would cost money, but makes sense for a small business, or build it out in my home. Luckily, my closet workspace is attached to a kind of family room, a mostly large and unused space that has a ton of potential to be turned into something a lot more useful. We decided to take the room and split it in half. One side would be my workspace and the other side would be my wife's office. Now that there was a plan, it's time to get some work done and actually build out something awesome. Once the wall was up, it was time to fill out the room. There are several problems that I am personally trying to solve for. Some are hobby related and some are YouTube related, so my space will be kind of a weird mix of both hobbies. First off, workbench toolboxes. Super sturdy, probably overkill, but a ton of storage, and they're on wheels so they can be moved around the room. Lighting. In order to give myself enough light, I installed a collapsible ring light and camera rig from the ceiling. I can drop this right onto my painting space and have a camera up and running within seconds. Next to that is a rigging system that allows me to attach pretty much any piece of camera or lighting equipment to it and move it around the room. This setup is a series of threaded conduit pipes that I got from the home store. It's the same stuff you see on Pinterest all the time, where they turn it into shelves, like little pipes with end fittings. You know what I'm talking about. I also ran power from a light in the ceiling to power anything that hangs from the ceiling. So there are no tripods or wires on the floor, which makes filming in this room extra easy. The last thing that I really need for the space is a desktop organizational system. Like I said earlier in this video, having your supplies within arm's reach makes it so much easier to hobby. If I need a color, I can look up and grab something. The fact that it's right in front of me will actually make me use colors and products that I wouldn't normally use. Having something in front of you and accessible is an important part of getting better at something. For example, if you're trying to learn how to play guitar, don't keep it under your bed or in a closet. Keep it out so that when the moment strikes you, you can get to it pretty quickly. If there are barriers in front of you, you are less likely to follow through. So having a good organizational system is important for your hobby space. I ended up going with Hobby Zone. It's a modular MDF system that gives you a ton of storage in a ton of different ways. I went to their site and built out my desk. It just arrived a couple of days ago, and I spent the last couple of days putting it together. There are other systems out there. Hobby Zone just happened to fall into my budget at the time. They also just came out with a virtual desk builder that made it almost too easy to buy into. This video isn't sponsored. It probably should be, but it's not. I just really like the way they've upped their game recently, and their product is solid. So it's definitely something to look into if you want to up your hobby desk level. So here we are, now with a level 5 dedicated hobby space with a side of filmmaking built in. Is it overkill? Maybe for some people. But for me, it's about being able to bring you consistently good content each week. Having a space that allows me to move around and try new things. Knowing where supplies are leads me to actually using them on camera and not forgetting they exist in a box somewhere. Being able to spread out and tackle larger projects or spend more time painting one thing, more than normal. I want this space to push me to be a better hobbyist. Even on a personal level, for you. Just take a few steps to organize your space and try and keep your supplies within arm's reach. I bet that you will grab a color you don't normally use, or a supply that just looks right for whatever situation you find yourself in. Something that you definitely wouldn't have gone for if it had not been for the fact that it's right in front of you now. Because of the amazing support I get on this channel, from everyone on the Patreon to viewers who just hang out for a little bit just to check in, none of this would be possible. I cannot tell you how much it has helped this channel grow, so thank you. It's my hope that it continues to grow and I can find even better ways to serve you in your own hobby journey. Whether that's rescuing more models, showing you interesting hobby stuff, or just having a conversation each week about the games and minis that we all love. Thank you for joining me on another miniature rescue. If you liked something about this video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Once again, I'm Casey, and I will see you in the next video.